And we're back, IGN Live from Gamescom in Germany, and it is time to check in with Dragon Age Inquisition, one of this fall's most anticipated games. Cameron is here to tell us all about it. What are you guys showing off here for Gamescom?
We brought a new demo to Gamescom just for everyone here in Germany, and what we're showing here is the war table that you have as the leader of the Inquisition. And on this war table, you've got over 300 different missions to send your agents and soldiers and scouts out on. And that could be to repair bridges in the area that you've been exploring to get access to new parts. We're also showing how you can customize your Inquisition by getting new perks for the Inquisition, which has gameplay benefits. And then what we'll do here is we'll jump into Ferelden, and you can see we're going to start an operation to send our scouts into a new area of the world that we might want to go and explore called the Fallow Mire. And the reason why we're doing that is some of our Inquisition soldiers have been captured by some barbarians, and we might want to go in there and rescue them. But along the way, you know, it's an open world game, so you can explore a whole bunch of different parts of the world. And so this is it. This is your Inquisitor that we have today. This is a human female warrior Inquisitor, but of course you could be any of the different 4 races, 3 classes, and customize how you look as well.
He wants them to fight you.
So this is Scout Harding. She's the lead scout for the Inquisition. She's a whole bunch of scouts that go off and set up Inquisition camps for you throughout the world, and once you've got a first camp in one of these big open areas of the world, then you can go in there and you can start looking at exploring and uncovering the secrets and just run around and have fun. But this is a very tense area. It's a creepy swamp. There's lots of undead that have been raised because a plague went through this area and wiped everyone out.
Now you mentioned the camps. Are those the same thing as the keeps, or are these different?
A little bit different. They're kind of like small versions of keeps. Okay. You know, as an Inquisitor, you have the ability to send your soldiers and forces through the world to set up camps, and you can find other little opportunities to set up camps as well as you explore the world. But you can also capture these big keeps, as you mentioned, and when you do that, you bring your Inquisition forces into them, you populate that keep, gives access to new side content in the world. And then, of course, you have Skyhold, which is your massive castle, which is your seat of your power as the Inquisition. And within Skyhold, that's where you have that war table that we just saw.
Sure. So a couple of things I noticed. First of all, the game is gorgeous.
Yes.
Right? And also, we have a ridiculously giant sword.
Yeah, that's right.
It's like Final Fantasy level ridiculous.
Maybe not quite that much, but yeah, it's a pretty big sword. We wanted the combat in Dragon Age Inquisition to really feel weighty and have a lot of impact. We've slowed it down quite a lot because we want that sort of visceral punch when you swing, and you can see there, you know, how much weight is going behind that two-handed sword. Yeah. But that's just a warrior. I mean, a warrior could be using a shield and a sword or a mace, or we did have one version of this demo where the Inquisitor was using this massive warhammer, you know, doing this big sort of stomps, and that was very interesting when you pound an undead corpse into the ground repeatedly. It's very cool.
Our sword was also on fire.
Also on fire, yeah, absolutely. So you can enchant your weapons and armor through the game. So we've got a fire rune on this sword here, so it's a big flaming sword when you pull it out in combat. But there's things like frost runes and lightning runes, there's vampiric runes as well. There's a whole variety of ways that you can enchant the weapons and armor that you either find or craft in the world.
Are these enemies we're fighting, are these the plague victims?
These are the plague victims, that's right, yeah. So what you'll find as you explore this environment is that this plague came through, wiped everyone out. They tried to burn a lot of the bodies, but the plague was too deadly, and it just killed everyone before they could burn all the corpses. And then someone or something is causing these things to raise from death. And really, this area, anytime you start to walk in the water and disturb the water, more corpses, more undead start to spawn around you. And these pillars here that we're seeing now, we can use our mage, Solus here, to light a veil fire beacon. And by doing that, we draw some demons back up onto solid ground, and they bring some of the undead with them. So it's a great way to think about how you can avoid some of the corpses in the water and pull them up onto solid ground. So this is one of the terror demons that we have. It's this crazy, nasty looking demon, and it's come from the Fade. So of course that big rift in the sky that you may have seen from E3 and other trailers, that's causing a lot of these spirits and demons to come into the world. So here we've got the Inquisitor lighting a torch from that veil fire, and that's going to allow us to uncover various hidden runes throughout the world. And in this case, it starts a chain of content, chain of stories to uncover the truth behind this undead and the plague. So, yeah, there's lots of different secrets in the world to find, just like that.
Would this be considered a side quest in the game?
This is really a side quest, absolutely. This is an area of the game. Of course, we're an open world game with multiple regions. The story that we're telling in Inquisition is far too broad and vast to be able to tell in a single area. So we wanted to take the player all over these 2 different countries, being Ferelden and Orlais. And as a consequence of that story being so large, we need to take the player to different locations. So things like this swampy area or massive desert.
This thing is cool.
This thing's very cool, yeah. I can't even pronounce the name of it, but it's this crazy lizard creature. And you know, all the creatures that you find in the game all have different sort of predator and prey faction settings. So you know, you might come across that lizard creature there, and it might be fighting wolves, or it could be attacking humans. I've seen some really interesting, crazy results. I once saw a giant that we have, one of the giants we have in the game, throwing boulders at a dragon as it was flying past. Nice. That was pretty cool.
So you another secret
here?
Yeah,
exactly. More secrets. So you can see we're starting to find out more about what might be coming, what might be causing these undead to be raised. So we've also got Solus, as I mentioned, the mage in the party. We've got Blackwall, who's a Grey Warden, and we have Cole. And Cole is a character originally from one of our novels, Dragon Age novels, and he's a very weird person. Yeah. So he's very creepy. But he's a rogue, so he's using two daggers. Rogues can also be using ranged weapons or a variety of melee weapons too. And Solus, of course, is using his magical staff, and he's got some really crazy and cool spells he is.
So you can switch between members of your party at any time?
Absolutely, yeah. So you know, now we're using Cole to run around, but you can stay fixed on the Inquisitor if you want to do that, or you can you know, essentially take control directly of any of the companions that you decide to bring along. We've got 9 different companions in Inquisition, and you can bring those into your party and adventure with them any time. So in combat, you can still swap between the different characters, and of course, if you stay in action combat, you can keep doing that. If you go into tactical combat, which we'll see in a little bit, then you can take control of all of them, issue them all different orders, and see how it plays out.
We just picked up Blood Lotus.
Yeah, that's right. So the armor that we grabbed here for Solus, you might notice that when we picked it up, there was a couple of slots in there that were empty. So one of the great things about the crafting system that we have is that not only can you make full suits of armor, but you can also craft or find different gauntlets and boots that you can then insert into the armor set to customize how the stats and how it looks. And that means that you can really customize how you're playing combat. And of course, with the crafting system as well, you can craft weapons and everything, and of course enchant it. And I love being able to craft the blades separately from the hilt, from the pommel and the crossguard, all out of different metals and materials, and those metals and materials will change how the weapon looks and how it fights.
So we're going to set up camp?
We set up a camp, exactly. We found a great place to push our Inquisition further into the world as we explore. We've got a station here where we can craft some new potions. What we just did there was we found a recipe for some poison, and we picked some flowers earlier on in this demo. I think it was Blood Lotus, and that lets us mix that poison. So we might be able to use that poison as we explore through, and I think at the E3 press conference we saw Cole use that poison.
You can poison your blades?
Absolutely, yeah, you can poison the blades, and that does a ton of damage.
Yeah. So if we happen to fall in combat, do we go back to the camp?
Well, if you fall in combat, if it's just one of your companions or you have fallen down, you can be revived, but if everyone wipes, then you might need to load a save game. But interesting, there are some really cool times in the game through decisions that you can actually have a game over moment, which is pretty neat. So this is one of the Avar barbarians. His tribe has captured your Inquisition soldiers, but he's not interested in any of that. He just wants to find out what's going on with this small rift that's popped up in this area. So he's keeping an eye on it. That's spitting out demons, and he's talking about his goddess, like the sky goddess, and it's an interesting sort of dialogue. We saw it again at the E3 press conference where Aaron showed some more gameplay from this area. Afterward, killed his chieftain, which he considers to be dishonorable, we then had an option to recruit this character into the Inquisition as one of our agents that we can then send out through that war table that we saw.
I see. So there's a rift behind us.
There is, exactly, and I think we're going to try and we're going to tear it open. It's sitting there at the moment, but we're going to tear it open so we can then close it, kill some demons, and bring a bit of stability to this part of the region. So the Inquisitor, you know, as you can see there, is opening up this rift. At the beginning of the game, you are blown into the Fade in this massive explosion, and that gives you the ability to manipulate these rifts in some way.
Okay, so here we get to see the tactical view.
Exactly, so this is the tactical view. We've brought it back from Dragon Age Origins and enhanced it. So you can see as we hover over some of the enemies there, we can see some details, their strengths and weaknesses. The more we fight creatures, the more information we're going to have about them. So, you know, we'd set up some basic attacks there, a whirlwind for the Inquisitor, and then we advance time, seeing how that strategy plays out. And then at any point you can jump back into action mode if you want, but here we've got a Wraith, it's a new enemy in the world. So we've got okay, so now we're in direct control of Cole. He's a high damage, we've spec'd him to be high damage, so he's just going to run around and kill things. The Skywatcher Barbarian is fighting on our side, which is really cool.
What does it mean when an enemy is taunted?
Sorry, mate?
When an enemy is taunted, what does that mean?
So if an enemy's taunted, it means probably Blackwall, who's our warrior. He's a very defensive warrior. He's using his Warhorn ability to draw the aggro of all these creatures, keep their attention while Cole, Solus, and the Inquisitor deal a lot of damage. There's a Rage Demon, maybe familiar from the previous two Dragon Age. Now this is a really cool ability. As the Inquisitor has this special ability, this Mark of the Rift, that she's using her connection to the Fade to essentially banish all of the demons in an area of effect, which means it simplifies that combat a lot, and it's a really great way to just wipe them out. But you can't use it all the time, so.
How's this battle going?
It's going pretty good. Okay. So yeah, they defeated all of the demons that came out of the Rift. The Inquisitor's now going to close it down, and by doing so, that earns power and influence for your Inquisition, which you can then again spend on more operations and missions at the war table that we saw at the beginning. And some loot there, that spirit essence you can convert into enchanting weapons, which is great. And that's pretty much what we've got to show you today.
I am going to get lost in this game.
Yes,
when it comes
it
down.
is massive.
So
Absolutely
much to do.
Huge.
It's actually also part of the new EA Access plan that was just announced, right?
That's right. That's right. Yep.
So that means if you subscribe to EA Access, you get early access to the game.
Yeah, you'll get early access
early,
to a part of the game, which we'll talk about at a later point.
But then you can like start playing the game, and then your save file will carry over.
Absolutely, yeah. That's right.
Yeah,
yep.
That's very cool. Dragon Age Inquisition is out November 18th.
That's right.
Cameron, thank you so much for coming by the show.
Thanks, mate.
The game looks awesome. Welcome. Stay tuned. Lots more to come from IGN Live at Gamescom, presented by Dead Island 2 right after these messages.